Hello and welcome to the old Fliers. The loneliest job in the crew of a bomber aircraft is that of tail gunner. Remote from fellow crew members, yet so vital to their survival. Despite a panoramic view of the landscape and the convoy of aircraft around them, they were there for one purpose only, the defence of the aircraft. Seeing an attacking enemy fighter and shooting it down before it shot you down. The tail gunner was vulnerable to enemy fire. Literally, it is do or die. The first aircraft to ever have incorporated a tail gunner position was the Sikorsky Ilya Muromets S-25 bomber in 1916. Another First World War era aircraft that was so equipped with a tail gunner position was the British Handley Page V-1500. Increasingly capable tail gunner positions were developed during the interwar period and World War II, resulting in the emergence of the powered turret and fire control systems incorporating radar guidance. These included the British Vickers Virginia, introduced to service in 1924, and the Japanese flying boat Kawanishi H-3K in 1930. One of the first aircraft to operate a fully enclosed tail gun turret was the British Armstrong Whitworth Whitley from 1936. During World War II, the Japanese Mitsubishi G4M bomber and the American B-17 and B-29 bombers had advanced tail gunner arrangements. British bombers such as the Avro Lancaster had 4 Browning 303 machine guns, and the Handley Page Halifax had 4 5.0 Brownings. During the closing years of the conflict, the American B-29 bombers had tail gun positions operated by the tail gunner remotely. Conventional tail gunners were last heavily used in combat on American heavy bombers during the Vietnam War. By this point, the position had become largely obsolete due to advancements in long-range air combat weapons such as air-to-air missiles, as well as modern detection and countermeasures against such armaments. The last tail gunner to shoot down an enemy plane was on the 24th of December 1972. The tail gunner of B-52 Stratofortress Diamond Lil shot down a MiG-21 over North Vietnam. This B-52's tail gunner was Airman First Class Albert Moore. They had taken off from Utapao Royal Thai Naval Airfield that day in December 1972 with a mission to bomb a North Vietnamese railroad yard. A North Vietnamese MiG-21 raced to intercept the B-52. Albert said, "I observed a target in my radar scope low at 8 miles. I immediately notified the crew and the bogey started closing rapidly. It stabilized at 4,000 yards. I called the pilot for evasive action and the electronic warfare officer for chaff and flares. When the target got to 2,000 yards, I notified the crew that I was firing. I fired until it ballooned to 3 times in intensity, then suddenly disappeared from my radar scope at approximately 1,200 yards. I expended 800 rounds in 3 bursts. The MiG-21 had caught fire and crashed." The era when a fighter had to get within visual range of a bomber to shoot it down are now gone. Tail gunners are now obsolete. The tail gunner's radar had proved to attract enemy missiles. Not good. During the Gulf War in 1991, a missile homed in on a B-52's tail gunner's radar. There are amazing stories of tail gunners surviving their aircraft being shot down. The cramped compartments didn't allow them to wear a parachute, or indeed to have a parachute within arm's reach. The turret would have to be moved to allow them to climb out into the aircraft. In a Lancaster, the turret was electrically powered. If electrical cables were severed, it meant the gunner was trapped in his compartment and breaking out the perspex was his only option. One remarkable story from World War II involves the survival of tail gunner Alan McGee, who fell from his B-17 Flying Fortress without a parachute. On January 3, 1943, during a bombing raid over Saint-Nazaire, France, McGee's aircraft was hit by enemy fire. The explosion caused him to be thrown from the plane at an altitude of around 20,000 feet. Without a parachute, he plummeted towards the ground. Miraculously, McGee survived the fall. He crashed through the glass roof of the St. Nazaire railway station and fell onto a thick pile of coal. The impact shattered his arm, leg and ankle and caused severe injuries, but he was alive. So too was 21-year-old Nicholas Elkemade. He was one of 7 crew members in a Lancaster from 115 Squadron RAF when they were attacked by a Junkers 88 night fighter on the 24th of March 1944 when returning from a 300 bomber raid on Berlin. The bomber caught fire and spiraled out of control. Because his parachute had caught fire and was unserviceable, he jumped from the aircraft without it, preferring to die on impact rather than be burnt to death. He fell 18,000 feet to the ground below. His fall was broken by pine trees and a soft snow cover on the ground. He was able to move his arms and legs and suffered only a sprained leg. Elkemade was subsequently captured and interviewed by the Gestapo, who were initially suspicious of his claim to have fallen without a parachute. This was until the wreckage of his aircraft was examined and his parachute was found as he said it would be. Such is the unpredictability of fate. Thank you for watching. Liking and subscribing promotes new content.